Do you know what most people want the most out of life? If you were to ask someone on the street what the most important things in life are, they almost certainly would mention love and romance at some point. Finding love is sometimes easier said than done though, and making that connection happen is usually a lot more complex than it seems. Humans are social creatures by nature, but we are also unique, with our own unique needs and desires. So stay tuned for all of today's video as we help you understand how to make love finally stick, and hopefully you can get your own happily ever after moment. Number 10. Get past your own baggage before looking to add to it. No matter how happy and carefree a person may seem, they always have their own baggage to sort through, just like you. When people are confronted with this baggage, it can bring up a whole lot of emotions, and some people would rather avoid unpacking it than ever interact with it in the first place. While this may seem fine, leaving unresolved baggage around is a surefire way to hurt your relationship. You have to love yourself first, as they say, before you can truly love another person. The sooner you learn that lesson, the easier it will be for you to accept you have to look inward before looking for love. When you don't have your own affairs sorted out, it can make your romantic relationship feel hard or complex, when really it is just you trying to balance someone else's emotions as well as your own. People with a lot of baggage are usually avoided by people looking for lifelong love and tend to instead wind up with other people with baggage. This can create a codependent and somewhat toxic kind of relationship between them to develop, which can be messy and doesn't usually end well. Number 9. Know what you're looking for. Once you have settled your own stuff, you are ready to focus on what you are looking for. While it may be fun to date people outside your comfort zone or who can be considered different from your usual type, it can also make things more difficult. If their career is very important to you, then you may be wasting your time dating a person who doesn't really prioritize that aspect of their life. People often spend months or even years of their lives trying to change a person to be what they want, but that is only going to end up adding more strain on the fibers of the relationship. Before you seriously start looking for love, you should try to carefully outline the kind of partner you're looking for. This makes finding a loving partner much more straightforward, and it can be helpful for more analytical people to have a checklist to work off of. If you are a person who has a hard time making decisions about a person, or if you feel bad rejecting someone who is into you, making a kind of scorecard to rank them against can also be pretty beneficial. Number 8. Set your standards high. One of the reasons people tell you to love yourself first before looking for it in others is that you'll know when it's real. Setting a high bar for yourself is a good sign that you have a healthy idea of your self-worth, and studies have found that these people tend to find healthy relationships easier. When people settle for partners who they aren't initially wowed by, they are much more likely to remain in that relationship for much longer than they desired. Time isn't the biggest factor when it comes to love, but wasting it on a person that you didn't really even have intense feeling for can really build up frustration and make dating more difficult. Number 7. Be yourself from the start. When it comes to knowing how to get love, a huge factor is being able to be yourself. That may seem like a bit of a cliche, but it is considered to be one of the best indicators of a healthy and sustainable relationship. If you are in a relationship and hiding something, you are forced to either keep that secret from them for the remainder of your potential life together, or tell them and potentially lose them forever. Neither of these outcomes are good, and both can put tremendous pressure on a relationship. People who are hiding a part of themselves or trying to be something they aren't can also feel fake, which will make partners less likely to open up themselves. If you are trying to make a relationship work, there needs to be a mutual understanding of one another, which can't happen if you are hiding who you really are. Number 6. Don't try to put your relationship on a pedestal. Now that you are being yourself and making your partner comfortable, it's time to take a look at your relationship in a more general way. When two people try to make things work romantically, there can be a lot of obstacles that can inevitably keep them from being together long term. One of the most glaring ones in the modern age is the idea of ego and image. Relationships are a strange situation because the other person in it represents not just themselves, but also a bit of you too. As a result, relationships are constantly being picked apart and compared, which only ever ends up leading to hurt feelings. Comparing yourself to others is not the best way to go about life, and it is hard to be yourself when you are so worried about what others think. When people start to look at their relationship from an outside perspective, they can lose track of what it feels like when they are together, and it can make it harder to feel like the relationship is working. By the way, make sure to subscribe if you've learned something new today. Number 5. A relationship only works if you do. So many people worry themselves with questions like, will I find the right one? That they don't realize that they are viewing relationships in the wrong way. The truth is that a relationship is only going to work if both of you are willing to make it work. That means a lot of talking, spending time together, and creating meaningful moments together. A lot of people find dating easier when they are younger, but a lot of that has to do with our desires to go out and make things happen. A relationship is built on experiences, and you both have to make the time to allow for those experiences to occur. Number 4. Set healthy boundaries. On the other hand, as nice as it is to spend a lot of time with one another, you also need to make sure you aren't unintentionally crossing the line. Communication doesn't just happen when you are flying high and talking about fun stuff, but it also has to occur when you have something you need to say but rather wouldn't. Things like pet peeves, boundaries, and really anything you feel needs to be said should be conveyed to your partner. Now, this doesn't mean that you should just say anything that pops into your head, but it does mean that you should be upfront about what you need and look for in a real relationship. It may be strange for both of you, but in the long run, you are going to be thankful that you aren't stepping on each other's toes and pretending it doesn't bother you. Number 3. Honesty and kindness together. It doesn't matter if you are honest if you aren't also kind. For example, if your partner has a hygiene problem, you may want to be delicate with how you deliver the news. People want to be their best for the person they love, but when you spend each and every day with one another, you are bound to get more comfortable around each other. If that sounds scary to you, it shouldn't, as being comfortable is a sign of deep affection and that they trust you. When people hear they should talk about their feelings more, though, they can sometimes go overboard and accidentally hurt their partner in a real way. While they may be well-intentioned, it is also somewhat your responsibility to tell them the news, and so you should always be as kind as possible. If you feel like their reaction is unfair, then letting them talk to you and sharing why you felt a need to communicate that with them may be helpful. Number 2. Little gestures can go a long way. A loving partner can have many traits, but 2 things they almost always are mindful and present. A partner who embodies this well is one that makes little gestures for their partner on a somewhat regular basis. You see, when you only celebrate big milestones or things like birthdays or anniversaries, you miss out on the spontaneous nature of love. While a partner will appreciate you making their big day special, love is also supposed to be a constant state that the 2 of you share with one another, not something reserved for just birthdays and holidays. Little gestures like buying them their favorite snack or sending them a cute text can help convey this feeling. Number 1. Treat them like a human being, but not like another you. There is an old saying that you should treat others like you would treat yourself. While this may be a good way to teach empathy to people, it might not be the best approach to finding love. The number 1 thing that might be keeping you from love is not treating your partner like someone with their own wants and needs. This becomes especially true as we get older, since we tend to become more set in our ways and believe strongly that our way is the only way. Giving your partner the freedom to make their own choices and discoveries allows them to find more ways to love you, and it also gives you both the room to grow and change. While change can be scary, it is also inevitable, and people who feel loved also feel like they can become anything and still remain loved by their partner. And if you like this video, then check out these related videos to see more. And make sure to like this video to let the algorithm know you'd like to see more videos like these.